Hello everybody, welcome back to D7R TV. Today is another video on the Clio. It's been about 3 weeks since we posted the first video and now my workload is out the way. I've got a little bit of time to try and diagnose the running issue with our new Clio. It's been sat for a couple of weeks. Obviously there's going to be a few little issues, like the battery was dead and the immobilizer kicked in, so underneath the bonnet there is a fuse box. And in the fuse box there's a white plug, and it's quite a common little issue which will cause immobilizer problems in your car not to start. So what I did was open the plug, spray some contact cleaner in there, give it a little jiggle, in and out, in and out, in and out, put it back in, 5/1 turn of the key, charge the battery up. Now she's all fine and dandy. Today we're going to go through a few things. First thing we're going to do is run a compression check and see just how healthy this engine is, because in the last video we told you that what the mileage was on this car, and it's 178,000 miles, which in layman's terms for its age is a little bit more than average, but in Clio terms that's quite high, and we want to find out if she's healthy. We'll do a compression check, find out what the numbers are, then if she's healthy we're going to whack a new set of plugs in. These are a little bit colder plugs than what you'd usually use, which would be a NGK BKR 6E, but these are BKR 7E, and it just enables you to have a little bit more room kicking its head in, if that's what you're into. We've also got a set of plugs, leads and coil packs. We've got 3 spare coil packs. I'm sure a couple of them are good, so it's got 3 chances to R1, and that's another little thing we'll try and figure out. We'll check the plugs, see what the burn looks like on them, and let's get into it. Right, so the bonnet's open, and if you're lucky enough to have one of these, the engine cover, which not a lot of people have, some do, you've got 4 T30 Torx. So we're going to just remove this first. Hopefully they don't snap. Usually they round the heads off or they snap. So we're just going to undo these and remove this plastic beautification panel, as it's called. I don't mind them. A nice clean one of these does freshen up the engine bay a little bit, but most people just run without them, which is fine, but it does look tidier in the engine bay. So let's get these out of the way. Then we can take this cover off. I don't really want to be gunning these off because inevitably they'll snap. Then I'll have to extract them, which is a pain in the arse. Work smart and not harder and all that. And bump, the engine cover's off. And I can see, first of all, it's got an aftermarket, brand new coil pack, and it's also got brand new leads. Because it's got a brand new coil pack doesn't necessarily mean it's a good one. So we'll still be checking it anyway. So what we want to do is, because we're going to do the compression check first, is unplug the coil pack plug, and we need to take away these 10 mils here. There's 5 across the front and 2 at the rear, and we're just going to peel this out the way. So let's get into that. It might just be a fouled plug, but you never know. We'll check everything. If it's got a new coil pack, new leads, it may have been a problem in the past, but we'll soon diagnose it. Don't gun these off, for God's sake. Just take a little bit more time and just use a ratchet, because then you can feel if it's going to snap or not. They don't snap often, but they can do. And you're just going to make yourself more hard work. I've also been to see the Wizard, aka Dale at Bailey Performance, because if this is not our issue, he's kindly cleaned a set of spare injectors I had on his Ansu machine, and we're trying that as well, because another thing which helps, which makes these run like a bag of shit, they don't have an inline fuel filter, only the one that's in the tank. So sometimes it fouls an injector up and they run like a bag of shit. So we've covered that base too. But main thing is compression check, and we can see what we've got to work with. Because if this engine's toast, I'm not going to bang another one of these engines in. You know me of old now. It's probably going to have a 20 valve or something in it. Little bit of a jiggle and it'll pop off out the way. But I'm just going to go and grab a screwdriver and I'll pop the vac line for the brake booster, which is at the back off, which I've got off now. I'm just going to undo this airbox elbow here and pull that off. Then I can get this out of the way. Flathead screwdriver in hand. I'm just going to undo this Jubilee clip here. We are going to get rid of this airbox in this video as well, and we're going to put a little comb filter and a silicone hose on just to tidy it up a little bit. There's a lot of bodywork and bits and bobs to do on this car just to make it look a little bit better. You want to take this hose off here, which goes to the back of the inlet. Those can also leak. There's another Jubilee here. We're going to try our best to get to the bottom of its running issue. It's not a bad one, but it needs sorting. So that's off. Now we should be able to get this out of the way. I'll take the air intake temperature sensor off. It does smell kind of fuely, but there is a breather plate underneath here. That's off. There's a vac line here. I can pull that off, which goes to, I don't know, it's sort of like a little valve which cures induction noise. I mean, you want as much induction noise as you want on a sporty car like this. You don't want it stifled, so we'll be deleting that as well, and we'll show you how to do that. You got your map sensor at the back. It doesn't really foul anything, but you can just pull this out of the way like so. Pull your plugs out, or your leads, should I say. You might want to keep them in for now, so you know which ones go back where. And we're going to extract the plugs now and see what they're saying. Try not to drop anything in here as well, because that's just going to take your valves up and it'll get sucked into the engine and bugger everything up. So first of all, we're going to attack cylinder 1. So I'm going to pull the lead out, get our plug spanner in there and take out the plug and check its condition. It wasn't very tight by the look of it. So we've got a little hack here, is a 9.6mm 3/8 inch piece of fuel hose, and I use that to sit on top of the plug and pull the plug out like that. And we have a PFR 6C NGK, and it doesn't look all that bad, to be fair. But we're going to pop the compression tester in, which is a Draper unit. Wiring that into the plug thread. Don't over tighten it, otherwise you'll never get it off. And then we're going to wind it over and wide open throttle, because that'll give you a better reading. So let's get to it. And we have a reading of around 200, which is remarkably decent, to be fair. Just hope the rest match. So next protocol is take this out of here, drop a new plug in, tighten it up properly, and then go on to cylinder 2, then 3, then 4. Alright, so plugs in. When it starts to get tight, just give it a good yank, but not over tighten it. And that's that one done. Again, not very tight. But that's not something we can't fix. Get our hose again. Voila. Still, don't look awful. Compression check in. Keep winding it until it starts to go tight. Let's give it a little bit on there. Again, turn the ignition and wide open throttle. Let's go. Our cylinder 2 is considerably down, 150 psi, which isn't a great start. Doesn't matter if they're all 150, but like that's a considerable difference. So it's not quite looking all that sweet. Still shouldn't stop it from running properly. New plug. You want about 10% difference, if any at all. Cylinder 3. Fucking loose as... I'm not going to say it, but it's loose. Notice quite a bit of oil residue in the inlet, which I'm not sure why. All depends on what sort of oil it's been used to. If it's had the 530 in or something, it's not really all that good, because obviously tolerances and stuff change. So I tend to put like 1040 in them. Still not too bad looking on the plug side. But that cylinder 2 being down quite a bit is a bit of a worry. So now cylinder 3. .210, which is quite high. Wouldn't be too bad if cylinder 1 and cylinder 3 correlated and cylinder 2 was also the same. So a plug can go in that. And we'll recheck cylinder 2, just in case it didn't have a good seat. You have to be optimistic at this point. Bit fiddly getting this back in there. Now cylinder 4. A little bit tighter, but still loose. It's a bit rougher looking than the others, but oh well. Wind the compression tester in, and then go and do a wind over. If you're wondering what that weird noise is, that's a starter motor. Got a couple of brand new ones. This one, about 205, which is half decent. Well, it's decent, but I wish they were all around about the same. That would be within the 10%. Plug in 4. Until it starts to pinch, which is there. Go back to cylinder 2, take that back out. See, that's how it should be. Nice kick when you try and undo them. Tester going in. Tighten it up. And just double check it. It's gone up to nearly 180 this time. Still a little low, but you can keep winding it over and it will edge a little bit. So something's not quite sealing in that cylinder by the look of it. But 180 is still not awful. It's not a dead donkey, but it's not quite perfect. It's still a good usable engine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little tiny drop of oil in there, see if I can bring the compression up a little bit, because it might be a little bit of a bore wash cylinder, and that might be the cylinder which is causing our misfire. So let's try and do some more diagnosing. But the compression test has been removed, and I've got a little cap of 540 oil. It's going to pour about 5 mil down the cylinder and wind it over again, then redo the test. And then hopefully, if it is bore washed, it may be an injector which is stuck open or something, which is causing our misfire. So let's have a go at turning her over. It's probably going to spit a bit of oil back out, but can't really test it with the oil sitting at the top of the piston. So let's get it down the cylinder walls. So that should be around the rings now. Put the tester back in. Give her another go. Not saying this is going to work, but it's got 2 chances to my 1. Compression's gone up to 270, so yeah, it could be bore washed. So that's out. I'll wind it over again to make sure it's got more coverage in there, and do another check. It's going to clean this up as well, so it doesn't get stuck in the bore. Let's get the residual oil off the compression test. I will wind it over again, then put the tester back in. It's a slow process, but it's a process of elimination, as they say. And hopefully that has dropped a bit, but not all too much. Well, it's actually gone up to 280 now, so we got compression in there now anyway, so it's definitely sealed something. So the plug can go back in, and let's start looking at what else it could be. Right, so I'm going to hazard a guess. I don't think it's going to be the plugs now or the leads, because the leads are brand new. So I'm going to put a little bit of Hylamar around this seal here, because if it's got a vac leak, because there's a little bit of residual oil around here, it's got all been leaking at some point. Hylamar's a very good little sealant. It doesn't ever go completely off. Don't overuse it. It's just to cause a mechanical or a chemical seal, however we want to say it, around here to stop any misfires, any air leaks. You can pull it on here, but these stay relatively flat, and if you tighten them up properly, you don't seem to get too many issues. You got a little bit of residual oil on the lower inlet manifold, so perhaps I will put a little bit on there, because that's saying there's a bit of a leak. So again, we're going to use a Hylamar. Just run a finger around there. Don't bead it up like silicone sealant. Doesn't need it. Nice and consistent. It goes really tacky straight away, especially if you've got a bit of heat involved. Damn good stuff. Now to cylinder 1. This car is due a service, so I'll do oil and gearbox oil and filter. A little bit more on here. Cylinder 3. Make sure it doesn't go into the actual bores. I'm going to plonk this top inlet cover back on. You got some locating dowels. Make sure you haven't trapped any of the leads. They always have a little bit of play like this. Just make sure it's not sitting on anything. Because it should stay relatively flat. And you can put your 10 mils back in. You've got 5 smaller bolts for this front of the inlet manifold, and you've got 2 slightly longer ones for the rear. The front ones won't work, and they're also got a gold hue to them, and the others are a silvery grey colour, so you can't really go wrong. Just get these started in here, and you can tighten them up. I think the next port of call is to try and start it again and see if it was a plug issue. See if the misfire's gone. Then second, if it's not that and it's still misfiring, we're going to take the leads off and try one of the coil packs and see if that makes a difference. As I say, it's a slow, tedious process, but it's a process of elimination. And if it's not that, we're going to swap out the fuel rail with the cleaner injectors we've just had done. Start with the middle one. You only want to nip them up, you don't want to really tighten them. And if it's all well, you can feel it start to sit flat. Don't cross thread these, for God's sake. It's easily done. Right, so that's the inlet tightened back up. Put your map sensor back in. Air intake temperature sensor back in. Hopefully this is the last time we take this off for a while. These can be tight. Shouldn't be that tight. Right, it's on. Put your brake booster pipe back in the back. Put your little vac hose on the front. Plug your coil pack back in. And let's see if she starts. Well, she'll start, but see if she runs better. Now, that does sound better, but it's still not completely perfect. I'm not quite happy with it. But that's a damn sight better than it was. I mean, there's still some oil. There we go. It's hunting a little bit. There will still be some oil in cylinder 2, and that'll have to burn off first, which is no biggie. So I think what we're going to do now is transfer these over onto another coil pack. I just plug it in situ and see if that makes a difference. And if it doesn't, we'll try it with another coil pack. And if that still doesn't make a difference, it's not going to be the coil pack. And I don't think it's going to be the leads either. So that'll be down to injectors. Right, so here we have another genuine coil pack. What we're going to do is transfer the leads over. And if you do it this way, you can't mix them up. These non-genuine coil packs are not the best, but we'll just leave it like this, just to test the theory. We might see a difference, we might not, it might run worse. But again, we're just trying to eliminate the possibilities. Again, that sounds a lot better. So that could actually be the issue. It might still have a dicky injector, but that is, well, that sounds good to me. It's got a little bit of a, well, it's not even a miss. It's about 85% where it needs to be, but we only do 100, so let's try an injector, because I definitely think the coil pack's made a difference. Now it's time to take the injector safety cover off. And these should be 2 10mm, but I've run my finger in there because I tried to get the socket on there because they're a bit of an awkward size. And it seems that there's only one holding it on. So has this been off before, or has it fell off? Well, we'll soon find out. It's dropped a tad cold here at D7R HQ, so I've whacked a jacket on. We're going to get this cover out of the way. We can see what we got to work with. It's definitely missing a bolt. So I've done one. And there we have it. There's only one in there. So this has definitely been off before for some reason. Down here you have 4 injector plugs. You want to be popping them off. These can be a little bit of a tricky thing for where they're situated. There's one off. 2. I don't know whether you can see it. They're just a little push in, little bar at the top. They should pop off nice. Like so. Here's the fuel line, and it's got like a little squeezy thing that you have to press in, and these can be a faff to get off. Not gonna lie. Should have bought a screwdriver with me. This car is definitely due a service at some point. I'll get round to that soon. I won't do a video on that because you've already seen me take an engine out of one. So squeeze this. You get a nice sort of spray to the face. Just make sure you don't get it in your eyes because it stings a little. And you've got 2 10mm bolts. You've got one here and one here. And this keeps your fuel rail in situ. Another thing that could cause this car to run rough is I don't know for the life of me what fuel the lady who bought it off has used in it. I mean, if you don't know anything about cars, would you really put 98 octane in it? Or 99 octane? I mean, this might have been run on E10 for the last couple of years, and that's not going to do it any good. I only ever run these on V-Power, whether they're stock or modified. Let me get this loom out the way a little bit. And I can clearly see it's had a replacement injector on 4, so that's why this has been off before. So it's clearly been an issue. And there can be a twat. You got I think it's another 10 here as well, which is we'll undo just to see if we can get this loom out of the way. But I've just lost my ratchet. It's probably right in front of me, which it is. Just undo this just to give us a little bit more freedom with the wiring loom. But yeah, that's a good telltale sign. There's a completely different injector in here. So I think we may have found an issue. It's definitely wrong. mean, a blind man on a wooden rocking horse wouldn't tell the difference. Would tell the difference, should I say. I don't even know what brand it is, but it definitely ain't one of them. And it clearly hasn't been sat in properly. So that could be what would cause an air leak and cause it to run shit. So, yeah. And here we have another fuel rail. These injectors were relatively clean, so Dale tested them. They were pretty consistent. I've got a little video that I'll insert in a minute. And he did these for me. I'm going to put this on and see if that makes a difference. We're just going to put a little bit of silicone grease around here. I've got no Vaseline because I just haven't got really much of use for Vaseline. I'm not trying to be a wrong in here, but yeah. Put some silicone on there and should slide in nice and cause a nice little seal. Squash a little bit of silicone grease around these rubber O-rings. Try not to get them into the spray bit at the bottom. You don't need to lather it on. Make sure it doesn't get into the little holes at the bottom where it sprays out. More on this one. As you can see, all of these are original ones. I've lost my rag now. Not literally. Well, literally. So let's get these in. They can be a bit of a faff to push in, but you got to make sure they're in properly. It's got to rotate them round because I've had them out. These little keeper things are a pain in the arse as well. They got a little locating hole in the injector. These should sit in. Like so. So that should be the right orientation for them now. And they basically fell in there. Before I push the fuel line on properly, and then plug them in. You should have a nice little click. You probably can't see it all too well, but if you took it off, you obviously know they go back on. Come on, you bitch. Alternator's in the way. Click. Nice. Try and get the right bolts back in. So much shit up in the scuttle panel. Needs a good clean out. Well, that's started to go in there. Try not to cross thread these either. Put the loom one back in. Get the silicone grease out of the way. And I can push this on. Fuel line. I think I'm actually missing like a little washer or something off this one here. It's clearly not the right one. These aren't the right ones that go in here. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pause you and put some correct bolts back in the fuel rail because I don't want any movement or leaks. Right, so I'll put 2 new bolts and washers in to the fuel rail. And now I'm going to flick the key, get the fuel pump priming, get some fuel into the rail, and hopefully this doesn't pop off, this fuel line, and she sounds a bit healthier. And now it's not misfiring. So it seems that that was our issue. Oh, a little tiny bit, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. I don't think there's any vac leaks or anything, so I've sealed everything now. It's definitely running a lot better. Need some new engine mounts, so it is a bit flappy in there. But yeah, it's definitely better. So I've just got to try and persevere with it and see what's what. While we're here, I'm going to get rid of this airbox and put a little comb filter on, which I'm going to do now. But yeah, it definitely sounds healthier, so I'll give that a win. Okay, so this is what's going on. This is a little silicone hose that I made. As you can see, that looks familiar, which is one of them. So I mustered this up. It's come off another one of my cars. And we're going to fit this and remove this airbox. We're also going to remove this carriage here, because why not? Just make it look a little bit better. We are going to stick the battery in the boot at some point. So let's get into it. We've already undone these, as you know. So you should be able to pop this back off. There's a couple of 10 mils holding the airbox in. If you can hear me squelching every time I move, it's because I've burst my air bubbles in my Vapor Max trainers. So you got a 10 mil at the back here. You got another one at the front. And hopefully this should lift out the way if there's enough room. So that's the airbox out. Let's give it a little look around. You have this vac line here, and this goes to some sort of what I mentioned earlier. It's like an induction muffler. Pull this out the way. This goes down into this induction muffler thing. That can stay there. It's no biggie. If you want to save weight, you can take the bumper off and pull the induction muffler off. But this vac line, you need to block off. We'll cut this until we take the bumper off. I haven't had the bumper off yet on this, so I'm just going to go and get a little block off for this, and that bit should be okay. Right, so in this little box that I have over here, I have a little assortment of block off for vacuum lines and bits and bobs, and you just find the nearest one to the size you need, make sure it's tight, and that instantly blocks off any vac ports. And these are about a tenner, if I remember. I can't remember, or something like that. So that's out the way now, and we're going to squeeze on this silicone elbow if we can. We're going to get rid of this bar, as I said, because it's just in the way. Pull the Jubilee clip over, like so. Have that pointing down there. Sure. Get this tube from the back of the inlet. It's breather, that'll go on, like so. It's a quick little mod. And then just tighten up the Jubilee clip. And instantly you probably lose about 5 horsepower, but it'll sound a lot better and be shitter on fuel. And that's the first real mod we've done to the car. Nothing special, but we're going to remove this bar now, which is about a T30, I believe. Need to take the top of this off, which can be a bit of a pain in the arse for the ECU cover to take this off, and then we can remove this bar. Should have a T30 out somewhere. It is a T30, so My memory didn't fail me there. I'm undoing this to remove this bar which is next to the battery. Being we've done this compression test now, I know it didn't look all that good at first, but I've got high hopes now, so she should be all right. A little bracket. So that's that first one done. You only need to undo this a little bit and it should come out the side. But you need to take this top ECU cover off. That can be a bit of a faff. Sometimes it's better just to take the battery out and undo the bracketry and get it off that way, but we're going to try and cheat if we can. And just try and pry it up. It is going a little bit. Try not to take my knuckles off on this bar. This is just going to be a nightmare, to be fair. Hopefully it's loose enough that we can just sort of twist it out like that. There's another little hack for you. Then you've got a little clip on here, the ECU loom, but we'll be remounting that in a better position at some point. Just push them in and it should just pop off. Like so. So yeah, that needs reattaching to that. So I'll weld a little bracket on here and that'll keep the ECU secure, but I'm probably going to mount the ECU either flat on the battery tray or the gearbox bracket and chop the battery tray up and make it more flat. Because the battery's going in the boot, which I'll also show you that as well. We're going to put a little junction box on here, run this. We'll have to put a fitting on there, so like a loop fitting onto this cable here, and then this will also go on it. And then we'll run a cable to the battery of the car, an earth in the boot. We can then delete this earth wire here, and jobs are good and winning. I think we broke the back of why it was running a bit rough. We changed the injectors, as we know in the video that one of them was incorrect. We checked the coil packs, didn't really make much of a difference. Checked the plugs, they got changed, and she is running a damn sight better now. We changed the airbox to a comb filter, and yeah, the only thing I think it is now, it's running 80%. Could do with about another 20, but I do think it's down to fuel now, and I think it's just been run on shit fuel for so long. I mean, if you don't know, to run 98 octane in these, you're just going to use the cheap as the 95 octane shit wherever. So yeah, I think that's going to be my issue, but as I said, I'm happy with how it is now. We've diagnosed a few little issues, we've sorted it, and she's a lot better for it. We still haven't come up with a name, guys. I'm a bit disappointed. I would have thought you'd be all over that, calling it some baguette piece of shit or something, but like that's not what it's about. What a nice, crazy female name, something like Beth from fucking Yellowstone or something. Something that's nuts. That might actually be a thing, because if you guys don't come up with a name, I'll have to. So, no biggie. I think the next thing we're going to tackle on this car is going to be interior, because it's still gopping in there. The car hasn't been washed since I've owned it, because I haven't really had time to work on it. So, no point in cleaning it, sticking it in storage part of the farm and it get covered in straw and shit. So, it'll have a damn good clean down at some point. We've changed the beautification panel because I had a better one than the one that was on it, and it does look better for it. So yeah, it's been a little bit of progress today. So please like, share, subscribe as well, guys. I never say it often enough. I'm not one of these that keep pestering people. About 20% of you looking at my algorithm or whatever, looking at all my analytics, should I say. About 20% of you are actually subscribed, and if you did subscribe, I'll probably end up with about 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers, and I'm about 12 at the minute. So my next aim is probably 2,000. So if you guys could like, share, subscribe and all that jazz, you'll do me a massive favour. I hope you're enjoying these little videos. I'll try and make them as frequent as I can. Obviously, I'm a busy guy. I've just done a subframe swap on a Audi TT, which was rotten, and converted it to an aluminium one, and that video will be up shortly. I'm not sure whether it'll load before this one does or go out before this one, but either way there's going to be another video pretty much in the same timeline as this one. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, do all the thumbs up and stuff, likes and all that jazz, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.